What if you woke up tomorrow morning and felt so lit up about doing your job, about the business you own, and psyched to get in your car or get on your computer and do the very thing that lights your freaking soul on fire? What would that be like? And feeling like you are living into your highest potential, living into your purpose, and it's so excited about what you can do and bring to the world. Whatever it is, for the highest good of all, you are in it. What would that be like? If you wonder about this, and if you've struggled at all with feeling that way, I am Jen. I'm the founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness, purpose expert and coach. And what I do is work with people who want to have that exact experience. And maybe you're not quite there yet. So you might notice that you are feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, burnt out, super stressed, empty, and not at all connected to your work. Not at all connected, even though you're a super successful woman and you have the practice or business of your dreams. Maybe you have the career path for you always wanted and you're like, I don't even know how I got here and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So if this is you, what I do is work with women just like you, and we uncover all of those difficult stresses, strains, and awful experiences and get clarity to provide you with that dream of waking up every day just belly on fire, super excited to go and create and do what you were meant to do. And what we do is gain clarity to reconnect purpose to success. And also we gain clarity about whether you're going to do it where you are, whether we can find a way to make that work, or whether we need to make a transformation of a bigger sort and maybe we need to change lanes. We together kind of uncover what direction that you want to go. So as a clinical social worker, I spent 15,000 hours across the couch from people providing insight and awareness and supporting journey work into uncovering, tapping into potential and purpose. And what we want to talk about is how to explore this, right? So I use that idea of expanding the extrasensory perceptions, leading to onward to reawakened experiences. So we really want to tap into this idea that I can have a new experience and I can have curiosity and objectivity. I can look at something with a little bit of distance. And what that provides me is this awareness without just reacting to things, okay? Big tool, big skill. And it's when we learn a lot in meditation, is that ability to kind of step out and hold space and then just have the experience. So in talking through the different layers of our being, where we kind of culminate is this divine layer of the soul. And so I'm going to quickly define that for you. So what is the divine layers of the soul? So we start at the very outside of us. And in yoga, we talk about this as koshas. So I'm taking this idea and I'm morphing it just ever so slightly. But I want to give kudos to yoga because that's really where I learned this idea of the layers of our being. And so the outer layer looks like the physical layer. It's the obvious one, right? So they have the physical layer. We move inward towards the thoughts. I go to the thoughts first because in working with people for so many years, that tends to actually be the layer that I really feel like I experience with people the most. Next is thought. And then emotional. And the next layer is the wisdom and intuition. And then beyond that's really the soul. It's the seed of the soul, the essence of who you are, the pure light, the pure wisdom, okay? Something bigger than us. And there's this beautiful spark inside of you. Those are the layers. And ideally, when I'm working with people, we're talking about the energy that's taking place in all of those layers, right? So there's this really physical energy that we can really experience if we have, physical pain or I got burned or something like that. But there's also this thing called subtle energy. And subtle energy are the things that are happening in those other layers, as in the physical, the thought, the emotional. There's these subtle energies. We call it the subtle body. And there's lots of wisdom held there. And so we've been talking about so far, being an explorer, having objectivity. We talked about how to make that mind-body connection, why that's so powerful. We talked about the senses and how the senses show up. And then what we're going to really culminate this whole idea into, and because I said, right, I talked about extrasensory experiences. What we want to do is expand beyond that. We want to move into those energetic layers of being and do our work there too. Sometimes we miss that. And it's one of the reasons that in therapy, I stopped feeling quite as connected to it, because I realized that we were missing these subtle layers of the energy experience that we wanted to tap into for healing. And so we're kind of taking and moving inward away from those really tactile, the 5 obvious senses are our touch and the sight and the smell and the taste and things like that, and the mind body connection. If I have a pit in my belly, if I wake up with a pit in the belly, that's telling me I'm stressed, right? It's probably indicating I'm stressed or I'm scared. Maybe I'm angry, right? So that pit tells us something. So we want to be kind of encouraging ourselves to explore this, right? And in the very beginning of all of this content, I talked about being like a hiker, like a caver. Like we want to kind of go in and we want to just take a look at all of this. And what I really want to invite you to do is to look at those subtle energies, the layers of the breath, okay? The layers of the intuition and wisdom. Those aren't just a physical thing. They're this really beautiful, subtle energy floating underneath everything. So I've already talked about the breath. One of the ways that we'll know mind-body connection is if I'm holding my breath. That's stress. We don't hold the breath unless it's intentional, right? If I'm doing a breath work with you and I guide you in to hold your breath for just a little bit, that's different. So subtle body is huge. It's the area that I feel like is missing in traditional forms of therapy. And it's one of the reasons I kind of went out of my way to shift gears, because I believe in the soul being part of this. I believe in the breath and being part of this, that our journeys and our stepping into our purpose is going to be filled with attending to all of the layers of our being. I said we're like a glorious, complicated, multi-layered cake. That's how I define it. Like we're like a multi-layered, beautiful rainbow cake. And one layer is fine, but all 6 or 7 layers of color is like this incredible experience, right? It's really fully living. That's what I want for all the people that I'm working with, is that really full sense of living and being fully in the moment. And that's what we're exploring. We're exploring how to be in that subtle breath, how to be in this subtle body, how to be in that intuition and wisdom. And that means we're expanding out of those really concrete senses that we use all the time, and they're super powerful. And what those do is those amplify the other senses, the subtle body. And so imagine, if you will, compiling different kind of pieces together that make this really incredibly juicy experience. So it might look like something like beginning to breathe and use thought at the same time, right? This is a brilliant thing. Something like inhaling I am, exhaling out peace. Do it a couple times with me. Inhaling I am, exhaling out peace. A lot of people love using this idea of attaching thought to breath. And that's really attending to the subtle body. You're attending to the physical body, you're breathing, right? It's good for us. It's pulling in the oxygen. It's helping us think and be clear. There's also something deeper happening within that subtle body. And so I wanted to begin to really dive into this idea that we can tap into the subtle body as this incredible tool for exploration, curiosity, awareness, and observation, and also tapping more fully into purpose. Because somewhere in those layers, there is an awareness that you have about what you're being drawn to, where you magnetically feel pulled, and also the places that don't feel very good. Intuitively, I might notice that I don't feel so good when I'm in this certain group of people. Or I don't feel well and I don't feel aligned when I walk into my business anymore. Those are all incredible sources of information. So I just want to really engage you in this idea that you can wake up every day with that deep sense of excitement and enthusiasm for what you do. You can be fire in the belly, excited and stoked and ready to be creative and living into something that feels so deeply purposeful for you. And we all deserve to live in that space, all of us. It's something accessible to all of us. And so if you'd like to know more about that, If you'd like to know some different tips and tricks, I invite you to come on over to my website, which is laughinglotuswellness.com. Again, it's laughinglotuswellness.com. And in there, I have tips and tricks and tools galore for living into your purpose and aligning yourself. So please feel free to go in and check out all of those resources on my website. They are there for you. They are free. It's free coaching. It's free material. So please go over and check those out anytime. They're at your disposal. All of my stuff is in there. So for now, just wanted to bring that awareness, that subtle body energy, being an explorer, tapping into those extrasensory perceptions, and having new reawakened experiences. So powerful, such a powerful tool. And so until next time, my friends, blessings, love, and light. This is Jen supporting you on your path to purpose, and we'll see you next time.